Want to know how a Dane Bramage guy like me can improve accuracy with a slingshot? In this Idiot's Guide to Accuracy, I'll tell you in... Thanks for stopping by. I'm surviving this cruel world, and I hope you are too. If you're like me, there is little in this hobby that brings more satisfaction than hitting your target. Some people shoot their little balls of steel or lead at a spinner, while others choose a paper target. Some love the sound of their balls hitting a can. The target possibilities are endless. Well, what's the best way to achieve accuracy?
Practice, practice, practice.
One thing I learned early on is that practice is no good if you're practicing bad habits. There are a few basic fundamentals in this hobby, but if you're not using fundamentally correct techniques, then all of the practice in the world won't improve your accuracy. I think everyone knows that the best stance is standing perpendicular but 90 degrees to the target. Until you can develop the ability to shoot instinctively, you should have an anchor point, that spot where you draw the pouch to. You also need a reference point on your catapult that you use as an aiming aid. This is true whether you use short draw or butterfly style. When drawing the pouch, you should also keep your elbows straight back, not drastically high or low. These basic fundamentals work for the vast majority of beginners and provide a solid foundation on which you can build. If you practice good fundamentals repeatedly, you will eventually develop the ability to shoot instinctively. This happens when your muscle memory has been programmed to automatically do what it's been trained to. So accuracy relies on consistent use of sound fundamentals. When I first started this hobby, I would shoot 100 rounds a day at a spinner and a catch box. While I was seeing a slight improvement in how many times I hit the target, I reached a plateau that I couldn't seem to get over. Whenever I have a problem, I hop on YouTube and search for a solution. There are several very informative Slingshot and Catapult channels where you can usually find an answer. One of the videos I watched pointed out the benefits of shooting paper. Yes, paper is a boring target. But when you shoot a spinner, it's like taking a pass-fail test in school. You either hit it or you don't. But it doesn't tell you something very important: where you are shooting. Are you consistently high or low? Are you shooting consistently left or right? Or are you just shooting all over the place? If you're consistently shooting in a particular spot, congratulations, that's a pretty easy fix. Now there are a couple schools of thought on how to approach this. Let me break it down for you the way I see it. As we said earlier, accuracy relies on consistency. Since aiming requires 2 points, the anchor point and the reference point, one needs to be consistent and never changing. My personal opinion is that your anchor point should be that consistent spot, and I'll tell you why. When you have a consistent anchor point, regardless of whether you're shooting OTT or TTF, it doesn't matter what frame, bands, or ammo you're using, a consistent anchor is the same every time. Reference point, however, can change from frame to frame, band to band, or even ammo to ammo. I learned this from my Axiom Ocularis. I was getting pretty consistent from 20 feet with it, and I was quite happy. Then I had a band split, and I replaced it with the exact same size and taper band set. All of a sudden I was missing my spinner. I couldn't understand it. That's when I learned the value of shooting paper. I shot 10 rounds at a paper target and discovered I was consistently shooting to the left. So instead of using the center dimple on my ocularis as my reference point, I used the left edge of the band. All of a sudden the spinner was spinning again. I was thrilled. What had happened was when I replaced the bands, I had moved the position of the band ever so slightly on one fork. Yes, consistency is also important in attaching bands, but I digress. So improving your accuracy relies on shooting paper whenever there is a change, whether it's frames, bands, or ammo. You need to know where you're shooting. Now, as I said earlier, shooting paper is pretty boring. But there are ways to make it a bit less boring. One way might be to shoot at a picture of a small animal, like a squirrel. If grocery prices keep going the way they are, we might have to have that in our skill set. But I saw a video from ATO that convinced me to try a hack I had thought about but dismissed at first because I'm a Dane Bramage guy. Let me share it with you. I went to my local dollar store, now actually it's a $1.25 store, and I bought 40 paper plates. Next I went on Temu, a Chinese website similar to AliExpress. Many of the products are the same, but Temu seems to ship a lot faster. If you don't receive your order within a certain time frame, they will credit you $5. Pretty nice of them, I think. Again, I digress. I bought some self-adhesive target stickers. I got a roll of 100 for under $4. They're bright, they're colorful, making shooting them a bit of fun. Watch. See what I mean? Informative and entertaining. Using paper targets has helped me improve quite a bit. Now I'm going to shoot straight with you, pardon the pun. I'll probably never be on a video shooting a piece of spaghetti or shooting a 2-centimeter spinner from 25 yards. You see, back in 2018, I suffered a stroke that really messed me up. It took 8 months of speech therapy just to be able to talk like this, and there are still phonetic sounds I have difficulty with. It took a year and a half to learn how to walk without a walker or a cane. If you've seen me walk in a video, you get the picture. There are still days every now and then when I need the cane, but they are getting fewer and farther in between. I still have weakness on my left side that is coming back, but it's far too slowly for my liking. But the most debilitating part was how it affected my spatial visualization. A stroke is an injury to your brain. My brain was damaged in a way that alters the signals between my eyes and my body. The prime example of this was in the hospital. When I would take a walk with my walker, I would see a doorway and try to walk through it. It took over a year before I could walk through a doorway without bouncing off the frame. So I've gone from someone who couldn't aim well enough to walk through a doorway to somebody who can occasionally hit a piece of paper from a small distance. What most of you take for granted is a major accomplishment for me. Every time I see that hole in the paper, or I see the spinner spin, or I hear the clink of a can, I know I'm getting a little better, and that makes me happy. Share something that makes you happy in the comment section below, and don't forget,